Hi, everybody. Sam here. I am so glad to be here with you today. I've got my friend Gorgi, and we've been having some fun. I love how God brought us together. One of our mutual coaches, mentors, told her she needed to talk to me, and it happened. And but then I'm like, oh, but wait, I needed to talk to her. So I love how that's worked out. But Georgie is the founder of Purge Theory. And Georgie, I'd like to just have my audience, people in the community, or if they're watching on social media, wherever they're watching at, just get a little to know you a little bit. And if you could share what I like to affectionately call your superhero origin story.
Thank you. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I love that our mutual coach suggested that I contact you because this has been a beginning of a beautiful relationship already. Love it. Thank you. Okay, so I am a purge coach, or more fondly, a crap coach. Now, please don't take offense to that, but the truth is we all own a ton of crap, stuff none of us need. And we all know it, but we all keep buying it. And the problem is it's hard to organize crap. And I learned this at a young age. When I was in my 20s, I started helping people get organized. I called myself a professional organizer. And I learned very quickly within the first year that those same clients were bringing me back every few months because I had never learned how to purge. I was just learning how to organize. I would help them buy the pretty bins and baskets to put everything in. But the problem is, we would buy the baskets for the amount of stuff that they had, and they continue to pull more and more stuff in their home. Birthdays happen, holidays happen, people bring you gifts, you go shopping, and you're at Ross and you're going down the aisle while you're trying to check out and you're grabbing random things that you never needed in the first place, but they looked great
Did
at the
you
time.
just shame me for Ross? Oh my
We all do
goodness.
it, Sam. We all do it. That's why I know it so well. Even I do it. When you're standing in that line and there's that bag of fancy popcorn that's probably been sitting there for who knows how long, right? Because you're bored at the moment or you're distracted. So the problem was people just kept growing out of these items. And it became clear to me the problem wasn't organization, the problem was the amount of stuff and not having a system to get rid of the stuff. Because let's be real, we're all going to continue to buy more things, right? Styles change, house styles change, everything changes. And just going into Target, you're going to find all the new stuff every 2 weeks. It used to be quarterly. Target and all these big superstores now change things out every 2 weeks. They do this on purpose, people, because they want you to buy and they have conditioned you to buy. They spend lots of money to figure out the psychology about your buying habits. And every time you walk in a store, they're using every single one of those things. So what I learned is I needed to learn how to help them get rid of their stuff. And that started me saying, nope, I'm not a professional organizer. I'm a crap coach or a purge coach to help you get rid of it. But some things happened along the way. Many times we'd be in the moment of getting rid of clutter, and Sam and I were just talking about that. Someone would pick up something and there would be a half-hour story around this whole thing. And I'm so nice when I'm sitting with someone and I'm wanting to help them. So I'm sitting there listening to the story, and in my head, I'm going, you just paid me an insane amount of money to sit with you to just tell me stories, and we're not getting anything done. And so I introduced timers, and we would set a timer, and I would have certain things that you had to do. We had bins, and had a keep pile, a doesn't belong here pile, a trash, a giveaway, and a sell. And in 20 minutes, we had to get things in these bins so that you didn't have time to stop and think about the memories behind the item, because it wasn't just one item, it was like 20 items that each had a story. And it was very interesting to see how the mindset would shift once they got in the mode to, oh, I've got to get this done in this amount of time. So let's go for it. I also would have my clients dress up in workout clothes and tennis shoes. Because what happens when we work out in tennis shoes and workout clothes? We're moving, right? And I wanted us to be able to move. But inevitably, what would happen in the middle of it, someone would pick up something and it would invoke a very deep seated memory. And I don't think I've ever had one client that hasn't had an emotional breakdown in the moment of this. So I would pause the clock and stop, and we would honor that emotion and talk about why we had the attachment to it. Because the reason we have clutter is because we have attachments to it. Then we just train our brain to get more clutter. But most of the things that we are keeping and having a hard time letting go of, it's because there's a memory, or we've had a loss in our life, or there's so many things that you can say that could happen, right? One of the things that I learned is that we would stop and we would honor that emotion, and we would talk about why it made us feel that way. And this miracle happens every time. I've never pushed anybody to get rid of something that they shouldn't get, that they don't want to get rid of. I will help them make the decision by asking questions, but I don't get to make the decision. You get to make the decision. And a lot of times they would hold that item, they would talk about it for a second, they would understand why they had that attachment and that feeling. And almost, I would say 99% of the time, they would give the item away or throw it away or do something because they just had to have that acknowledgement. And the interesting thing was with these items, sometimes they had been buried for years or in a box or a bin, and they didn't even remember they had it until they pulled it out and saw it. So, with that in mind, I knew that there had to be something else that needed to be put in place of how do you figure out why is it that in here and here I have the clutter? At that point, I knew that when I went in to meet with people, I also had to have a certain amount of block time because you start taking stuff out. And if you don't deal with it right then, we get more cluttered, right? Have you ever gone in and you're like, I've got to clean out that junk drawer or that closet? Let's do a closet. We open up the closet, we pull it all
It's
out, right?
worse before it gets
Yes,
better.
that it does. But you pull it all out and you're like, okay, I'm in the middle of doing this and I'm getting rid of stuff, but I don't know what to do with this. And then you get a phone call and someone says, I got to go, you got to come pick up your kid, or did you forget this or whatever? And you're like, yeah, okay, I'll be right there. But then when it happens is you get home and you don't have time anymore to deal with everything you just pulled out. So what happens? You shove it all back in. And then sometimes it's worse than it was before, or you just didn't finish it. So when I introduced the 20-minute timer, we do a 20-minute timer and then we take 10 minutes and we address every single bin. The trash goes to the trash. The stuff that's in the giveaway goes into a pre-designated space in your car, right? So that you know you're going to go donate that. It may not be full yet, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter that your trash isn't full yet. We're going to deal with each of these things. If you're going to sell it, you're going to take a picture of it right then. And we're still on the clock. We've set the timer for 10 more minutes, and then we go do another round. What happens here is you don't ever have this big mess that you pulled out. So if we start out, say, in the kitchen with one drawer, you finish that drawer and you have your cleaning items with you and you clean it out, and then you put the stuff back in that's going to stay, but everything else is going to leave. And it doesn't matter if you got only one session of 20 minutes done with it. Every little step that you take, and Sam, to your credit, when you just said things are going to get worse before they get better, usually what I have happen is that doesn't belong here. You're going to go take it to where it belongs. You don't necessarily have to put it away. If it's easy to put it away, great. But if not, then you're going to just put it in there, and those rooms are going to get worse until you finish the room that you're on. But by just touching the item once, you are saving yourself time. You're saving yourself mental time and clutter. And by the time you're done, you are going to feel so much lighter. And so that's where Purge Theory now has evolved to where I am no longer going in one-on-one with people anymore. I will tell you, as a Purge coach, it's very draining to work with multiple people because you take on their emotions, you take on their stuff. I'm not attached to their stuff and I can help them move through it, but it's physically draining on everybody. And I love it. I love going in and doing this, but the emotional part of it is really heavy. And I also thought I can only serve one person at a time. with 4-hour blocks. Oh, sorry, I forgot to go back to that. I decided to do 4-hour blocks. You have to commit to me for 4 hours when I come in personally, because I learned how long it actually took to do an area to where the client actually felt success and they felt that relief. So that aside, me pivoting to being able to help many instead of just one, I decided to first create a free newsletter where you can come and subscribe to it and get tips and tricks and things like I just shared with you now. But it also is a gateway to a paid coaching program that is a year long. And the reason it is a year long is because, ladies, it takes a long time to go through your stuff. It's not an overnight thing. We are not a TV show where they bring in a crew. You do not see behind the scenes where they have 100 people that have come in to do and take care of stuff. You don't even have a crew of 5 or 10 people. If you can for your garage, that would be great. Bring people in to help you. But what happens is you start somewhere and then you get tired. And so then you take a break and you start somewhere else. This isn't an overnight thing. So I created a year-long program with a community that has accountability. It has a weekly 90-minute purge party live with me, broken down into 20-minute purges. And then that is on a Thursday. On Tuesdays, I will have an hour live coaching call that you get to bring with me the issues you have behind your stuff. Because, like I said, it happens here. And the purge part of it is actually the easy part when you figure this out. So I wanted to create space for that and a group so that we could all be there to encourage and help each other. I, by all means, don't know everything about this. I learn from my clients as I go in, and I figure I'm going to learn in this. And so I'm really excited to take this new step and move forward. And right now, I'm
Yeah.
looking for my first 20 members that will have lifetime access, you guys, not just the year program. The first 20 are going to have lifetime access because guess what? You have to maintain it. Once you get
Mhm.
done, you still have stuff coming in. You still have people bringing their stuff in. And so I want to find a space where you can then come back and start over again and do a maintenance program. And you don't know if you're going to have a life change. You might get divorced. You might get remarried. You might have a death in your family. A parent could pass on and leave all their stuff to you. And holy cow, that's its own monster to deal with too. So
Oh,
that's kind of
Georgie,
it in
that
a
is
nutshell.
so that is it in a nutshell. Georgie, that was so good. And I do some of these purge things the way you talked about in the different buckets and stuff. That's actually how I've always done it. I haven't done the timer thing. But I know for any woman in our community, anybody watching this, if you need help with your systems, making sure that you're getting rid of the things that you don't need that could be holding you back, that are cluttering your mind and your space, Georgie is your go-to girl. And I'm so happy to be connected to you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.